Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Higurashi When I Cry Chapter 4. In the last episode, we were called to the precinct by Ooshi to look at an item that was turned in at the Lost and Found. And when we got there and we saw what the item was, it turned out to be Toshiki Inugai's wallet, which somebody apparently found at a location that was just a little ways past Hinamizawa. And once we confirmed that the information in the wallet was legitimate, and that it was indeed the kid's wallet, Akasaka and Ooshi basically got in a car and went to the area where the wallet was found. And shortly after arriving there, they ran into Dr. Irie, who was apparently there doing some kind of house call. And thinking that this was suspicious, Ooshi basically told Akasaka, well, in a nutshell, well, he didn't actually tell him, but more so, it was just like, it was silently decided upon between the both of them, hey, this is very suspicious, so get ready for trouble. And sure enough, there was trouble waiting for them, because they stumbled right upon the kidnappers' hideout. And a fight broke out between all of them. But eventually, Akasaka and Ooshi managed to pull through, and they managed to get the kid back and scare off the kidnappers. But it would seem as though Akasaka has passed out. So hopefully he's okay. Otherwise, the only other thing that really happened was we saw a tip where, well, Akasaka's wife is just basically sitting in the hospital thinking and reminiscing about her husband and all that stuff before she suddenly got a bad feeling, I guess, for lack of a better description, relating to Higurashi. Wanting to hear their sound. At least I'm assuming it was a bad feeling, or at least a bad omen. Anyway, that's pretty much it, so we're going to go ahead and hit continue and see what's up. That was my first time losing consciousness. You often hear of regaining consciousness on top of a bed, but this was my first time actually experiencing it.
Moshi moshi.
Hello. Hello, doctor.
大丈夫ですか?
Are you okay? Realizing that I was awake, a young doctor called out to me. I didn't intend to respond, but it seemed my body language had told him I was conscious. My head was wrapped in bandages. Scratches all over my body had also been treated. My sense of pain also returned with my consciousness, causing me to groan from the intense pain shooting all throughout me.
起きないで横になっていてください.
Don't try to get up. Just stay lying down, please.
頭をだいぶ殴られたようですからね.
Seems like you took quite a few blows to the head.
24時間は特に安静にして容体を見守りたいところです.
I want you to stay rested so we can monitor your condition for at least the next 24 hours.
ここは?
Where is this?
私の診療所です.
This is my clinic.
入江と申します.
Pleased
よろしく.
Pleased to meet you. My name is Irie. I remembered that this young doctor was the one in the car headed the opposite way earlier.
誰かいませんか?
Is there somebody here?
大石さんは?
Where's Ooshi-san?
あ、呼んできましょう.
I'll call him over.
診療所の中は禁煙なんで表で吸ってもらってるんです.
There's no smoking inside the clinic, so I had him smoke outside. He waited here for me. How kind of him. I'm touched. Dr. Irie left the room to go call Ooshi. The scenery outside the window was tinted with gold. The pouring rain had stopped, with the voices of the Higurashi heralding the cooling temperature. I felt that the tone of the Higurashi's voices was comforting. Eventually I could hear heavy footsteps coming closer, which I reckoned to be Ooshi's. The fog that was enveloping my head slowly faded back to reality. What had happened since then? What had happened to the boy? What about the reinforcements from Tokyo? The door to the room flew open, allowing Dr. Irie and Ooshi to enter.
じゃあ命に別状はないんでしょ
So there's no serious damage, is there?
ないとお約束はできません。
I can't promise that.
頭に受けた傷は初見だけでは判断が危険なのです。
I assessed the wound to his head was dangerous the moment I saw it.
わかりましたわかりました
Got it, got it.
ちょいと彼と二人で話がしたいんですが
I want to have a little chat alone with him for a
よろしいですかね?
bit. Would you mind?
ええ、どうぞ。何かありましたらお呼びください。
Yeah, go ahead. Call me if anything happens. Ooshi, after basically forcing Dr. Irie outside, shut the door.
いかがですかお具合は
How are you feeling?
慣れないことをしたので全身がボロボロです。
I did something I'm not used to, so I'm pretty banged up all over. Ooshi brought over a folding chair that was leaning against the wall and sat down beside the bed.
犯人たちは逮捕されましたか？
Were the perpetrators arrested?
残念ながら
Unfortunately, no.
とっくに県外へ逃げたか村人にかくまわれているかのどちらかでしょうね
They probably already fled the prefecture, or are being hidden by the villagers.
まあ逃がしゃしませんが
Well, we won't let them get away.
大臣の孫は？
What about the minister's grandson?
署で保護しています
They're taking care of him at the station.
ただ東京のあなたのご同僚から一切の聴取は取るなと釘を刺されたらしいですよ
But your colleagues from Tokyo are rather insistent that nothing can be recorded.
しげちゃんが憤慨してましたっけ
Shiki-chan doesn't like that too much. The kidnapping was a confidential matter, so his custody was also probably being kept under wraps. How the kidnapping of the minister's grandson would be handled, how it would be covered up, treated like it never happened, would be handled by the brass. If this case ended without the nation going into an uproar about it, then our job had been done. The possibility that the minister had negotiated with the perpetrators couldn't be ruled out. But something like that was no longer my concern. My role in this case was over.
ご迷惑をおかけします。
Sorry for the trouble.
公安ってやつはいやらしいところだって思ってるでしょ。
You must think that public safety is a rather unseemly place, don't you?
思いません思いません
No, no!
お互い日の丸から給金もらって仕事してるだけですよ
We all work on the government's dime. Ooshi laughed boisterously. When we first met, I was somewhat prejudiced against Ooshi, but now that feeling was gone completely. You're fire-forged friends now. Isn't that sweet?
今回の事件隠さないで大事にしてくれた方が
Or would it be
こっちは都合がいいんですけどね。
rain-forged in your case? It would be more convenient for us if this case was handled properly instead of being hidden away.
そうすれば黒幕の園崎本家に少しは迫れるんですが
If that happened, we would be able to have something to go at the Sonozaki family with, since they were behind it all.
まあ適当に迫ったところで圧力がかかるんでしょうがね
Well, if we just start poking around, we'll get all sorts of pressure put on us, though.
やれやれです
What a mess.
大石さんは園崎本家に今後も戦いを？
Are you going to continue to fight against the Sonozaki family after this?
まさか
Nah.
いろいろと黒い噂こそ絶えませんがね園崎家に恨みがあるわけじゃありませんので
There's all sorts of dark rumors swirling around them, but it's not like I have a personal grudge.
君子危うきに近寄らない方がいいんですよ
Wasn't it mentioned at some point that you apparently did have a grudge against them? That you did have a grudge against them? If I'm remembering that right, then I wonder what happened between now and the events of the last 3 chapters that would make you hold a grudge against them. It'd be wise not to step on any toes here. Ooshi laughed happily, and I couldn't help but laugh along.
あ、そうだそうだ。
Oh, that's right.
さっき県警から署に連絡があったそうです。
There was word at the station from the prefectural police.
あなたのご同僚が名古屋に到着したそうで、今車でこちらへ向かっているそうです。
Your colleagues arrived at Nagoya and are driving up here right now.
あなたは名誉の負傷ですから、東京へ引き上げだそうですよ。
You've got your battle scars, so you're being recalled to Tokyo, apparently.
そんなわけです。はあ、お疲れ様でした。
That's how it's shaking up. Good job.
あなたの沖宮での仕事は無事終了です。
Your work in Okinomiya is safely over. I was being recalled to Tokyo. I inadvertently breathed a sigh of relief when I heard those words.
大石さんのご協力に深く感謝します。
I'm deeply thankful for your cooperation, Ooshi-san.
あなたに支払った協力金は無駄にはなりませんでしたね。
Seems the collaboration fee I paid you didn't go to waste.
あら、冗談のつもりだったんだけどな。
I kind of meant that as a joke, though. Ooshi took out his wallet, casually pulled out several large bills, and jammed them into the breast pocket of my shirt. You're paying me back! That's nice.
これは協力金の返済じゃないですよ。
This isn't a refund on the collaboration fee, you hear?
私からあなたへのお小遣いです。
This is just me gifting you a little spending money.
この辺は地酒がうまいんでね。
The booze around here is pretty good.
東京へのお土産にこいつで買っていくといいでしょう。
Use this to buy yourself a little souvenir. Ooshi flashed me a grin.
もしもあなたの傷が軽いようなら、東京へ帰る前にぜひ声をかけてくださいよ。
If your injuries turn out to not be too serious, call me before you head back to Tokyo, will you?
おやさんも佐藤さんもぜひあなたともう一度卓を囲みたいと言ってましたからね。
The old man Sato-sen said they'd like to sit at a table with you again.
やれやれ。
Oh my.
参ったな。
Can't refuse that.
今度はこっちも小細工抜きです。
And no tricks this time. Same to you, buddy.
純粋に楽しもうじゃないですか。
Just some plain old fun.
よく言いますよ。
They always say
現
that.
職の警官があんなに濃い様ができるなんて。
This world is-
世の末です。
This world is done for if an active officer can cheat that blatantly.
私どもとね、対等以上に打てるメンツにはなかなかお会いできないもんです。
It's not that often that we meet someone who's more than a match for us.
あなたが東京に帰るのが惜しいですよ。
It's too bad you're going back to Tokyo. When I heard the words going back to Tokyo from Ooshi, I was reminded once again that I was relieved from my duties. Soon, Yukie would be giving birth. It might still be possible to attend the delivery that I had at one time given up on. When I thought that, the pain from my injuries became trivial. I wanted to hurry back to Tokyo and see Yukie at once.
少し傷が重いふりをして沖宮にしばらく滞在しません？
Can you pretend that your injuries are a bit more serious and hang around Okinomiya for a bit?
いいお店をいろいろ紹介しますよ。
I can introduce you to a few nice places.
もちろんおごれなんて言いません。
Of course, I won't make you pay for everything.
申し訳ないですが、それはまたの機会にします。
I'm terribly sorry, but I'll have to take a rain check on that.
妻の出産日が近いんでね。
My wife is due to give birth any day now.
早く帰りたいんです。
I want to hurry back home.
ありゃりゃ。
Oh my, oh my.
あ、それは知らなかった。
I didn't know that.
それじゃあこんなとこにいちゃいけない。
Then you shouldn't be hanging around here.
早く帰らないといけません。
You have to hurry back home. For a while after that, Ooshi asked all sorts of questions about my wife, teasing and bantering with me.
さて、
Well then,
具合はどうです？
how do you feel?
おきれいそうですか？
Think you can get up?
ええ、おかげさまで悪くないです。
Yeah, it's It's not so bad, thanks to you.
立って歩いても全然平気ですよ。
I can get up and walk no problem. I stood up and shuffled around for a bit, which seemed to amuse Ooshi.
いえいえ、ひなみ沢の病院では落ち着かないでしょうと思いまして。
Nah, I just thought that you might not feel comfortable at a hospital in Hinamizawa.
入江の先生は一晩泊まらせたいみたいなこと言ってますが、
Dr. Irie said he wanted you to stay overnight,
犯人もまだ捕まってませんし、
but we still haven't caught the perpetrators.
一応ここはあなたにとっては敵地になりますからね。
For the time being, this is enemy territory for you after all. I do see where you're coming from, and honestly, I probably would be smart to take your advice.
この病院は安全ではないということですか？
Are you saying this hospital isn't safe?
まあ、入江の先生も多少は社会的信用のあるお人です。
Well, Dr. Irie is somebody who's well regarded in the community.
ここにいる限りは何もないとは思いますが、赤坂さんの気分的にめいらないかという方が問題ですね。
I don't think anything will happen while you're here, but I'm more worried about your mental health. I relaxed a bit now that things had progressed this far, but it was exactly as Ooshi had said. When I realized that this was enemy territory, I suddenly felt uncomfortable. If the only thing left for me to do was leaving, the chance that I would come to harm was logically fairly low. It could still happen, but that didn't mean I was completely safe.
そうですね。
That's right.
横になっているだけならホテルのベッドでも同じな気がします。
If I'm just going to be lying down, then doing it in a hotel bed won't be all that different.
そうでしょう、そうでしょう。
Right, right.
私もその方がいいと思います。
I also think that's for the best. At that moment, I caught a glimpse of the clock over Ooshi's shoulder. It was the evening. The hours when I could call Yuki at the hospital were almost over. I wanted to tell her as quickly as possible that I would soon be back at her side.
ちょっと雪江の病院に電話してきます。
I want to call Yuki at the hospital.
ロビーに公衆電話とかはありませんか？
Is there a public phone in the lobby?
新婚さんはそういうの豆だな。
You newlyweds are all like this.
確か会計の脇にあったと思います。
If I recall correctly, there's one by the register.
ここで待ってますから、行ってらっしゃい、行ってらっしゃい。
I'll be waiting here, so go ahead. Go ahead. Ooshi, laughing while saying that he was jealous, opened up the window and pulled out a cigarette even though he was in a hospital room. You know, if you're really that jealous, Ooshi, maybe you should try settling down. Appreciative of how considerate Ooshi was, I set out to the hot lobby to find the phone. The lobby was just a short distance down the hallway from the hospital room. I thought that this hospital was a bit too grand for a village like this. But of course, it was nothing compared to the general hospital Yukie was admitted to. Running inside a hospital wasn't the best of manners, but calling hours would soon end, so I dashed over in a hurry. There was nobody else in the lobby. It may have been the evening, but there was nobody at the reception desk. Well, this might actually be lucky for me. I wasn't planning to have a conversation to feel guilty about, but it would still be embarrassing to have someone listen to the conversation between me and Yukie. What's there to be embarrassed about, man? Show some pride. Taking a quick look around, I soon found the payphone. Digging around in my pockets, I grabbed a few coins. I was calling Tokyo from here, so I'd burned through this amount fairly quickly. I picked up the receiver and inserted a coin, then dialed a number for Yukie's hospital, which I had completely memorized at this point. Were. The number for Yukie's hospital had a lot of 8s and 9s, so dialing it inevitably took a lot of time. Normally it wouldn't be a big deal, but currently any time was precious. However, I felt that something was strange as I was dialing the number. Are you being watched? I don't know exactly how to put it, but it was as if the receiver was too quiet. You're probably being watched, and they probably cut off the line. They probably cut the line too. That unique white noise from the telephone line wasn't there. Somehow, I felt that I wasn't getting any feedback from the phone, and without feeling a response, I hung up the receiver to try again. You might want to get out of there. I don't like this. Grab a Ooshi and go. The coin popped out from the return slot. I reinserted the coin and began dialing once again, but the receiver was still dead silent.
なんだこれ。
What is this?
断線でもしてるのかな。
Is it disconnected? While I was wasting time like this, the amount I had to spend talking to Yukie shrunk. I began to feel needlessly impatient.
すみません。
Excuse me! I felt the presence of someone on the other side of the glass, so I called out. There was an immediate response, and a man who seemed like a pharmacist came over.
はいはい。どうなさいましたか？
Yes, how can I help you?
すみません。
Pardon me.
この電話の調子がおかしくて。
This phone seems to be acting a little
ちょ
strange.
っと見てもらえますか。
Could you take a look at it? The man came over and tried testing various things with the receiver pressed to his ear. Come to think of it, this was someone who worked at the hospital, not someone from the phone company. Just as I didn't know much about phones, neither would he.
あれ？
Huh?
なんだこれ？
What's this? The man held up the cord that connected the phone to the wall. Somebody literally cut the damn wire. It was completely severed.
なんだこれ？
What the heck is that?
参ったな。
Well, this is a dilly of a pickle.
これじゃ電話会社の人に直してもらわないとどうにもならないですね。
Can't do anything with this until somebody from the phone company comes and fixes it. Get out of there! You're in danger!
電話でしたら事務室のを使います？
If you're looking for a phone, do you want to use the one in the office? I didn't want the people in the hospital office around while I was talking.
近所に公衆電話はありませんか。
Is there another payphone close by?
ここを出て道なりに行くと商店街に出ます。
Let's see. If you leave here and follow the road, you'll come out into the shopping district.
そこのどこかの角のタバコ屋にあったような気がするな。
I think there's a smoke shop on the corner around there.
行けば見つけられると思いますよ。
If you head that way, you should be able to find one soon enough. Just use the one in the office! Swallow your pride! I was dressed in a hospital gown. I was wearing sandals on my feet. My head was wrapped in bandages. Just looking at me, you could tell I was a hospital patient. No matter how you looked at it, I was not dressed to be wandering outside. But that's where the impetuousness of youth came in. Choosing the chance to talk to UK for even a little longer, I headed outside in my current state. Don't you have a danger instinct as a freaking officer of the law? I know you're a rookie and all, but holy shit. Doesn't any of this seem a bit off to you? Follow the road to the shopping district. Should be able to find one soon enough. At least go get a Ooshi, so you're not alone. If only those two lines as my guide, I ran outside the gates of the hospital. With the village nestled in a valley, when the sun set, it got dark quickly. The sparse streetlights lit up enough to start attracting moths. The Higurashi, knowing the time for the chorus was soon at a close, redoubled their fragile cries. Finding the payphone wasn't as easy as the person at the hospital had suggested. Was it still up ahead? Did I miss it already? Was I just getting farther away? I got an idea. Maybe that hospital staff guy deliberately gave you wrong directions. He's setting you up. You really should have taken Ooshi along with you. Just as I was about to be crushed by the wave of uncertainty towering over me, I found a shop on the corner with cigarettes written on a small sign. My joy spurred me onwards. Just as I heard at the hospital, set next to the counter of the cigarette shop was an antiquated payphone. I wasn't wearing a watch, so I didn't know what time it was. I probably didn't have much time left, though. But it was enough. Just as long as I could tell Yukie my job was done, and I would be coming home soon. Picking up the receiver, I slid a coin down the slot. But I felt that something was strange, just like at the hospital. Even after inserting the coin, the phone showed no response. Let me guess. They cut this line too? I hung up the receiver and tried putting in the coin one more time. But there was absolutely no response. This phone was dead. Couldn't be. Thinking that, I fell along the cord that protruded from the back of the phone. Doing that, my hands found the end of a completely severed line. Alright, somebody pick up that phone, because I called it! What is this? Something bad's about to happen to you. That's what this is. Because you have no instinct for danger, it seems. Having now had the same thing happen twice, my bafflement was accompanied by a sense of unease. It seemed that the cord had been severed cleanly by a sharp blade of some sort. And I may be mistaken, but it didn't look like much time had passed since it was cut.
すみません。
Excuse me.
すみません。
Hello. Opening up the booth window of the tobacco shop, I looked for someone in the dimly lit interior. Eventually, there were the sounds of somebody plodding down some stairs, and an old lady appeared. The old lady's plodding lethargic steps, for some reason, only served to make me more frantic.
タバコですかいね。
You need some cigarettes.
小さまでねんと、わがねのしゃ。
I'll need to get my husband.
タバコを買いたいわけじゃないんです。
I'm not here to buy cigarettes.
この電話が。
Rather, this phone here. Realizing that saying the phone was broken and asking him to take a look at it was going to get me nowhere, I swallowed back my words.
この電話が壊れてるみたいなんで、別の公衆電話があるところを教えてもらいたいのですが。
Sorry. It seems that this phone is broken, and I was wondering if you could tell me where there's another payphone. The old lady moved her jaw up and down, slowly, as if chewing on the meaning of my words. It seemed that she wouldn't understand until she had digested things thoroughly.
電話、壊れてますかいね。
So the phone is broken.
そんな難儀だわ。
That's a dilly of a pickle. Is that some kind of weird saying that's native to Hinamizawa? A dilly of a pickle?
他の公衆電話を当たってください。
You should try another payphone. Yeah, I know. In fact, I kind of just asked you, is there another one? The old lady directed me to another payphone that seemed quite a ways away. Her way of telling me was so long-winded that I inadvertently started to get impatient. At that moment, I spotted a clock in the dim interior of the store. The minute hand was just about to point straight up. Even if there was a phone right here that I could use, I would only be able to tell Yuki good night for the time I had left. On top of that, my destination was a remote payphone which I didn't know the exact distance to. If I was of a normal state of mind, deciding to give up the payphone today would have been the natural thought process. But At that moment, I'd become somewhat stubborn for some reason. Sounds to me like you've just contracted a mild case of platonitis. Symptoms. The symptom being you abandon all shred of common sense and an instinct for danger in order to put yourself into danger for the plot contrivance to create drama. Oh, poor Akasaka. Poor Akasaka. Unable to use the phone in the hospital, and coming out here and still being unable to use one. There was no mistaking I'd become quite insistent on using a phone.
どうもありがとうございます。
Just go back to the damn office then. There was in the hospital. There's a phone there. Maybe that one is fine. Thank you very much.
その電話ボックス探してみます。
I'll try looking for that phone booth. Refusing her offer to draw me a map, I left the tobacco shop. You're not even going to take a goddamn map with you? According to the old lady, even though the phone booth was quite far away, it would be easy to find. If I just followed this road straight down, I'd eventually find it. Sandals flapping as I ran, I couldn't help but laugh at myself. I'll admit that I was quite steadfast about calling Yukie. But there were days when I was tired or busy when I wouldn't call her. Even today, my entire body was covered with injuries, and I was dead tired. On top of that, there wasn't much time left. It wouldn't be strange at all if today was one of those days I didn't call her. But, having twice been foiled trying to call her, had I become hot-headed about it? Was I like a dog who was being told to stay with a piece of food dangled in my face?
何やってんだろうな。
What am I doing? Well, you're not isolating yourself from other people so they don't contract platonitis. Even so, I somehow couldn't quite quell the uneasy feelings sitting in the pit of my stomach. It was like that at the hospital phone, and the same with the phone at the tobacco shop. Both cords were definitely not severed from being frayed by long years of use. The clean cuts indicated that someone had taken something sharp and deliberately cut them. But who? And for what reason? If I had to guess, to ambush you, draw you out, both maybe. The more I thought about it, the more uneasy I felt, so I tried to push the thought aside. How much had I run so far? The scenery around me was no longer that of a shopping district, with residential buildings scattered about the lonely road. The surroundings had already grown dark. I was blending out too far for a quick phone call. It was quite obvious I was far removed from the hospital. And just in the perfect spot to get shivved. I recalled the clock I saw at the tobacco shop. It might almost be time. I had run for quite a bit, so my breathing had grown quite ragged. If I had just wanted to hear Yukie's voice, I should have just thrown away my reservations and borrowed the phone in the office. I regretted it a little. I think you should regret it a lot more than just a little. Well then, was it about time to give up? Just when I thought that, I saw the light in front of me. I'd finally found it. It was a phone booth. Oh, I know this place. It seemed that the light in the phone booth had recently been changed, as it shone with a vivid white light. Although in the gloom of Hinamizawa, it was nothing more than a gathering spot for moths. But in any case, I'd finally found it. As my hand touched the door of the phone booth, I realized I was breathing and sweating heavily. I didn't know what time it was right now, but even if it was just for a moment, I might be able to get in touch with Yukie. Since I had spent all this effort getting here, turning back without even giving it a try was out of the question. Before I picked up the receiver, another wave of uneasiness washed over me. I was worried that this phone cord might be severed as well. How's the cord in this phone booth? Squatting down, I followed the bundle of cables as they ran along the corner into the ceiling. At a glance, nothing was out of the ordinary. I ran my fingers as far as I could along the line to check it out. The only thing they found was a thick layer of dust. Nothing out of the ordinary. I wonder if it was popular in Hinamizawa to cut the cords of payphones as some sort of tasteless prank. Sure, that's what it is. Just a bunch of kids pulling a prank on you. It might be prudent to talk to Ooshi-sen about this later. Even if it was nothing more than a prank, it was still vandalism of public property. I don't think they would care. The kids. In fact, I think that's exactly why they would do it. In any case, this one was fine. This time. Pulling out a coin from my pocket with one hand, I picked up the receiver with the other. But this time, before the receiver even reached my ear, I felt something was off. The receiver was light. What, did someone take out the receiver's innards or something? It was more than a slightly unpleasant feeling. It was almost sickening. To verify the source of my displeasure, I peered at the receiver in my hand with a measure of reluctance.
なんだよ、これ。
What the hell is this? The coiled cord that connected the receiver to the rest of the phone had been ripped apart, and the tip of the cable swaying in the air. I'm impressed you didn't notice that right off the bat, but also, is that danger instinct of yours going into like DEFCON 3 or something now? Because I freaking hope so. It was all I could do to restrain myself as a raw and unpleasant feeling worked its way up the small of my back. It was a type of dread. At that moment, I heard the crunch of somebody stepping on gravel. And now the plotinitis has managed to stick you in just the right spot for it to kill you by proxy. Oh, poor Asaka. Poor Asaka. The light was reflecting off the glass walls of the booth, leaving me unable to see outside into the darkness. I steeled myself and stepped out of the phone booth. The inside of the booth was lit with that strong light, which might have made it warmer in there. Just by stepping outside, I could feel a chill wash over me. And there was the silhouette of a person. A small silhouette. Let me guess. Rika.
君は
You're... The long hair of that silhouette was blown about by the cool breeze.
怪我人が病院を抜け出してはいけないのですよ。
I knew it. So, Rika. Hi. Injured people shouldn't be sneaking out of the hospital, and young girls shouldn't be wandering around late at night by themselves out in public like this. That's dangerous, Rika. In fact, speaking of dangerous things, You wouldn't happen to know anything about these cords and these phone cords that have been traveling through that seemed severed, would you? Because I don't know if you know this, Rika, but messing around with electrical equipment like that can be a bit dangerous. Especially if you're going to handle them with sharp objects. You wouldn't happen to know anything about these things, would you, Rika? Would you? Somewhere in my head, I knew who this girl was. I didn't have any basis for it, but I knew that she was that girl.
ねえ、Akasaka.
Right, Akasaka? She, Rika Farud, said that almost like it was a warning.
君が電話のコードを。
Did you do this to the phone cord? Her expression remained unchanged. My question was left unanswered. Your silence is deafening, Rika. In other words, no response. Regardless, I felt that she had affirmed my suspicions.
どうしてこんなことをするんだ？
Why would you do something like this?
どうして？
Why? The last word had a tinge of anger behind it. I frantically tried to smooth things out, but she didn't seem very afraid.
もうどうにもならないことです。
There's nothing that can be done.
No.
Huh? I interpreted her words as meaning that I wasn't going to be in time for calling hours at the hospital. But thinking about it, that would have been a strange thing to say. What are you going to do? Why would she know something like that? I could take what she had said to have any other meaning. She just stood there like a mannequin, not even moving an inch. Almost to the point that if the wind wasn't occasionally rustling through her long hair, there would be the illusion that time had stopped.
赤坂が私を気味悪く思っているのがよくわかる。
I know very well that you think I'm creepy, Akasaka. Well, I guess we can add that to the list of things that you know. Like how to, what was it? Count in the double digits now? What was that? Was that what that was back during that meeting? I don't quite remember. But good on you, Rika. You now know two things.
ああ、いや、そんなことない。
No, that's not true. My denial came out almost like a bad piece composed for a poetry slam, but her words were right on the mark. I always felt something ominous and uncanny about her. No, you didn't, you fucking liar. Ever since her strange threats at the shrine. Okay, if it was after that point, then no, you're not a liar after all. She had noticed my expression was contrary to my words, seemingly laughing at the gap between them.
赤坂の怖がり。
Akasaka, you coward.
怖がってなんかいないよ。
I'm not a coward. Being laughed at by this small child didn't sit well with me. So I said that.
もう電話を探しても手遅れの時間です。
Even if you find another phone, it's too late.
そうだな。
That's right. She didn't even have to say it. I was absolutely too late. I might have already missed calling hours even by the time I reached this phone booth. I was too late. I had no option but to give up for today. I don't think that's what she means. Once I decided that, my unhealthy obsession with phones suddenly faded. Even I thought that it was strange that I was that obsessed. That strange obsession now gone, I began to laugh at how hopeless I was. I mean, just look at what I was wearing. It wasn't normal. A hospital gown and sandals. My head wrapped in bandages and my body completely soaked in sweat. It was a wonder that the old lady at the tobacco shop wasn't surprised to see me. With wanting to hear Yukie's voice as my motive, I had trapezed down the town the entire evening. I didn't know whether to call it the follies of youth or simply plain embarrassing. I call it lethally stupid. In any case, it was all I could do but laugh at myself.
もうこれで
Now,
今夜赤坂がすることは何もないです。
there's nothing left for Akasaka to do tonight.
そうだな。もう何もないよ。
You're right. There's nothing.
おとなしく病院へ引き上げるさ。
I just quietly returned to the hospital.
それがいいのですよ。
That's fine.
病院への道はわかりますですか？
Do you know the way?
わかるつもりだよ。
I hope I do. She waved her little hand as I began to head back the way I came. She began to fall alongside me. I didn't give you permission to follow me, Rika. Looking at her face, I could see that she wore a mischievous smile. I also didn't give you permission to wear a mischievous smile at me, Rika. As if she was extremely interested in whether or not I would get lost.
リカちゃんの家もこっちの方向なのかい？
Is Rika-chan's house also this way?
なのですよ。
It is.
こんな時間に一人で表を歩いてると、ご両親に怒られたりしないかい？
Won't your parents be mad that you're walking around alone at this hour?
別に怒られませんです。
Not really. How irresponsible of them.
今日はご両親は忙しい日なので、僕のことなど忘れていますですよ。
My parents are busy today, so they probably forgot about me. My sympathies. Not sarcasm, by the way.
それでも帰った方がいい。
Even then, it's best if you head on home.
きっと怒るよ。
They'll definitely be angry.
それでも、赤坂とおしゃべりする方が面白いのでいいのです。
Even if they are, it's much more interesting to talk with Akasaka, so I'm fine. Just because it's interesting doesn't mean it's worth it. She said that with a face free from worry as she looked up at me once more and smiled. When she showed me that smile, the eerie feeling surrounding her faded. But even then, she was still as mysterious to me as ever. We arrived at the corner I had turned at earlier. It was much darker than before, and with the point of view changed on the return trip, I wasn't very confident this actually was the corner I turned at. There's no mistake. It had to be this corner. As I began to move my feet again, the girl grabbed onto my clothes.
赤坂は病院へ戻るのではないのですか？
Isn't Akasaka going back to the hospital? I won't let you misdirect me now. I'll trust my guts.
もちろん戻るつもりだよ。
Of course. At least I intend to.
道間違えた？
Am I going the wrong way? A short moment of silence. Eventually, still holding onto my clothes, she began to walk. It was the beginning of the walk to the hospital this mysterious girl would take me on. I still don't like this. I still have a
電話のコードを切って
I
も
still
ら
have
っ
a
てた
bad
の。
feeling about this.
リカちゃんだろ？
Not a super bad feeling, but not a pleasant feeling all the same. The person who was running around cutting all the phone cords was you, wasn't it, Rika-chan?
ダメだよ。もうしちゃ。
You shouldn't do that anymore.
僕には何のことかよくわかりませんのですよ。
I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm not sure I believe you.
本当にかい？
Really. She tried to play dumb, but it was written all over her face.
ニパー。
Nipa won't work on me anymore, Rika. You ruined Nipa for me. Nipa, rip! Nipa. It was obvious she was trying to laugh it off, but that adorable smile of hers just made me want to forgive her. She does not deserve forgiveness. She has to earn it like every other human being on this planet has to. At least in a sane world. I'm going to be a horrible father, aren't I? Probably, but that's kind of irrelevant right now. That momentary lapse in tension was erased by her next words.
孫、無事に見つかってよかったです。
It's good that they found the grandson safe and sound. I know, it is just absolutely fantastic. Unable to respond right away, I sunk into silence. I had already learned this from Sato-san's info, didn't I? This girl, no, this entire village, knew everything since the moment I set foot in it. I considered playing dumb. But in the end, I chose not to. Well, then I guess whatever happens next is totally on your end, man. Maybe if you just played dumb, maybe nothing would happen, but, well, guess we won't know now. With everything being known already, there's no point in me feigning ignorance.
なんとかね。
Somehow.
それはよかったです。
That's great.
これで東京に帰れますですよ。
Now you can go back to Tokyo.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
赤坂の怪我はひどいのですか？
Are your injuries bad, Akasaka? Well, I was bashed in the head repeatedly with knuckles and rocks, so I would imagine they're not great.
さあ、ひどいのかどうか、医者の診察を聞いてないからわからないな。
Don't know. I haven't heard anything from the doctors yet, so I don't know if they are or not. Huh? Come to think of it, I vaguely remember being told to lie down and take it easy for at least 24 hours. Did that mean bed rest? Well, I'm pretty sure they don't mean yoga.
怪我人は病院を抜け出してはいけないの
A
です
lying
よ。
down yoga position, I mean. The wounded shouldn't be sneaking out of the hospital. And little girls shouldn't be wandering around late at night cutting phone cords.
電話のコードだって切っちゃいけないんだぞ。
People shouldn't be cutting phone cords.
みー。
Meep won't work either. Also rip Meep.
僕には何のことやらわからないのです。
I have no idea what you're talking about.
じゃあこっちだって何のことかわからないや。
Then I don't know what you're talking about either. As we played dumb with each other, we both laughed at the same time. If somebody saw us laughing at each other like this, it would probably bring a smile to their lips. Considering what you're dressed in, Akasaka, I would imagine they would raise their eyebrows rather than smile at you guys.
赤坂が生きてこの村を出られる確率は決して高くありませんでした。
The chances of Akasaka leaving this village alive weren't very high.
僕は赤坂に死んでほしくはないので、生きて村を出ることができて嬉しいです。
I don't want Akasaka to die, so I'm glad you're leaving the village alive.
リカちゃん、
Rika-chan,
最初っから私の正体は知ってたんだろ？
you knew who I was. Right from the beginning, didn't you? She said nothing, but gave a firm nod.
なら 分かっていると思うけど、私たちはこの村の、どちらかというと、敵の部類に入ると思う。
Well then, I think you know this, but we're probably somewhat of an enemy to the people in this village, I would think.
なのに君はいろいろと忠告してくれたね。
But you still gave me lots of warnings. That's right. She said it at that time. She wouldn't warn somebody that she was okay with dying. She definitely said something like that.
なら、私は君に感謝するべきなのかもしれないね。
Then, I should probably be thanking you.
感謝した方がいいのですよ。
You probably should.
僕は命の恩人なのです。
I'm your savior. Jesus Christ, you're right. I don't know how to feel about that. Uneasy? Saying that, she puffed up her chest proudly. No, well, maybe if I'm lucky, maybe you'll just order me to get you like 20 gallons of ice cream or something as payment, and then call it even between us. If that's all that will happen, then well, at least if you eat all of it and then turn into a land whale, you won't really be able to move around and cut phone cords anymore, along with God knows what else. So, the phone company won't have an annoyance to deal with. People won't have to be worried about you stalking them. And I will be able to outrun you each and every time I think that you give me so much as even a malicious glint in your eye. So, everybody wins! Saying that, she puffed up her chest proudly. Then again, I guess I wouldn't consider it a victory if I didn't try to roll you around first like a ball. Then it'll be a victory. Pure grade A victory. She said jokingly, but the meaning behind those words was quite heavy. That was because whether I lived or died was a decision that might have been made in a place unbeknownst to me. I think I have a good idea, assuming that choice I was given earlier wasn't actually, well, something that wasn't actually just a trick question, or, well, not trick question, but rather it's just like it wouldn't have mattered whatever I chose because I'd end up surviving. In fact, I might try that, actually. No, I don't think I might try it. I think I will try it and see if it would lead to a different outcome of some kind. Because, well, maybe it would. Even though this is supposed to be a Connect novel, where choices really shouldn't matter at all, or really shouldn't be present, the fact that they do have the choice here has to be... They had to have included it for a reason, so there must be something different. She said those words with such an adorable smile that it took a few moments of silence for their weight to settle in. For her weight to settle in. Exactly. You need to let her weight settle in after she eats all the ice cream. Okay, I'll shut up about the ice cream now. I've been to this place before. The Defense Alliance's office was there. It was the stone steps leading up to the Farood Shrine. Oh, are we going to have a final party moment up at the observatory platform? Is it going to be bittersweet? I can only hope. But the last 3 chapters have made me a bit of a cynic, so I'm not going to get my hopes up too high. When I passed by before, I was so focused on finding a phone booth I hadn't realized where I was.
確かこの神社がリカちゃんの家だったよね。
If I recall correctly, this shrine is Rika-chan's house, right?
まあ、そんなものです。
Yeah, something like that. Looking up at the shrine grounds, it was brightly lit, and energetic voices could be heard. What's going on?
今日はお祭りの日なのですよ。
There's a festival today.
お祭り？
A festival?
ひなみ沢村の唯一で一番のお祭り。
The best and only festival in Hinamizawa. Watanagashi?
綿流しのお祭りです。
The Watanagashi Festival. Yep.
Nagashi?
Watanagashi. Cotton drifting?
祭りなんて名ばかりのつまらないものですよ。
Just knowing the name is boring. Oh boy! Are we gonna be given a history lesson about the Watanagashi Festival by you? I wonder what your take on it would be.
見ますですか?
Do you want to take a look? She asked bluntly. But seeing that I looked interested, she climbed up a couple of steps and motioned for me to come. I was only going to go back and sleep anyways. If I had nothing else to do, it might not be a bad idea to go with her on a little detour. I wonder what Ooshi's doing. I wonder if Ooshi is still sitting in your room right now, wondering where the hell you are. Poor guy. In the hostile territory that was this village, I didn't know what would happen if I ventured down a side road without Ooshi. Even though I thought of the village like that, when I was with this girl, I forgot all about it. In any case, even without anything to back it up, I felt that as long as I was with her, none of the ill will from the village would befall me. That's why, even though I knew that my cover was blown, I strangely had no qualms about setting foot into the heart of the Onikafuchi Defense Alliance's territory. Climbing up to the grounds of the shrine, I could see there were about 3 pavilions set up, with meeting tables and folding chairs. The old folks from the village, no, the executives of the Defense Alliance, were already quite drunkenly sharing another round of drinks. I could only see it as people from the village council drinking while enjoying the evening there. At the very least, it was certainly quite different than any festival I'd ever seen.
ね。
See?
つまんないお祭りでしょ?
It's quite a boring festival, isn't it?
これは確かにお祭りには見えないね。
It certainly doesn't look like a festival.
大昔からずっと続いてきたお祭りですが、見ての通り、すっかり寂れてしまったのですよ。
It's a festival that's happened since long ago, but as you can see, it's not like it used to be. As if to chide the old folk, she said that while looking at them with an exasperated expression. Really couldn't call this a festival anymore. It was just a bunch of neighbors getting together to drink under the guise of a festival.
これじゃ祀られる神様も気の毒だな。
I feel sorry for the deity being celebrated here. Well, if you're still gonna go with that little half-assed theory of yours that the incarnated version of the said deity is Rika here, then well, maybe we should be feeling sorry for Rika-chan here.
こんなみっともないお祭りも、5、6年もすると村中が総出でやってきて。
Give this sorry excuse for a festival 5 or 6 more years, then everybody in the village will start coming.
ちゃんと儀式も真面目にやる立派なお祭りになるのですよ。
The ceremony will also be done properly, and it'll be a respectable festival again. What she said was not so much wishful thinking as it was the telling of a future that had already been determined. Well, if the last 3 chapters are an indication, I guess you will get your wish then too. You're awfully perceptive of things that are going to happen, I must say. Are you a clairvoyant? She wasn't even predicting it. It was almost like she was simply reporting the results. She's the future reporter. Instead of weather, she predicts the future. I wonder what the pay rate is like. That's how it sounded. Even though it was baseless speculation, the way she said it wouldn't let me interject. It was the same way she talked when she changed. While I struggled to find the words to reply to her, she wandered over to the other side of the grounds, not minding me at all. Not in a state where I could afford to be left behind, I hurriedly followed after her. Passing through a copse of pine trees, a strong and cool breeze ruffled my hair. There, from that one evening, was the splendid observation platform the girl had shown me. As it had grown completely dark, the moss lights littered across the nightscape were providing a different type of scenery.
こうして眺めると、この村ものどかそうに見えますのです。
Looking at it like this village seems tranquil. She said that with an indifferent look on her face.
君は先日、
Just the other day,
この村は絶対にダムに沈むことはないと、
you said that this village
そう断言したね。
you said that this village definitely wouldn't be submerged by the dam, didn't you? She didn't reply, seemingly relishing the feeling of the wind blowing through her hair.
あれは、あの時点でもう、大臣が要求に応じていたという意味だったんだね。
Didn't that mean, at that point in time, the minister had already complied with the demands? She spun around, her gaze meeting mine. But she said nothing. She spoke nothing that would neither confirm nor deny what I just said.
多分、今回の事件は闇から闇へ葬られる。
Well, I think if memory serves, what really stopped the project indefinitely was the murder of the damn foreman. So, assuming that hasn't happened yet, it's gonna. No, wait, it's the night of the Wanagashi, so I think that's when it happens. So it's probably happening right now as we speak, for all we know. This case will probably remain shrouded in darkness.
本庁上層部は多分大臣のスキャンダルが公になってトラブルになることを望まないと思う。
Headquarters probably doesn't want trouble from a scandal with the minister breaking out.
さもないと、孫を殺すぞと脅したに違いないのです。
There's no mistake that they threatened to kill the grandchild.
で、大臣との交渉が成功し、孫は解放された。
Then, negotiations with the minister were successful, and the grandson was released.
孫を助けたのは赤坂ですよ。
The one who saved the grandson was you.
どうだろ
う Well, I didn't do it alone. I had the laughing man to accompany me. I wonder about that.
発端となったあの財布の発見。
The discovery of that wallet started this chain of events. You put the wallet there, didn't you, Rika?
あれ自体がすでにできすぎだったように思う。
That alone was almost too convenient, I'd think. Ever since the moment the wallet was discovered, I felt something was odd. Ooshi said it as well. That the Sonozaki family had given the order to release the hostage. Meaning that our little manhunt was a farce to begin with. Come to think of it, I was punched, kicked, and had a gun pointed at me. I felt like I put quite a fight, but that might have been all part of a good performance. Once the negotiations were successful, they couldn't just say, "Here you go," and return the minister's grandson right to his doorstep. They knew that public safety had realized that this was a kidnapping case and were moving in on it. That's why, due to the actions of public safety, the grandson was able to be rescued safely. So the minister didn't give in to any unreasonable demands. That type of performance was necessary.
僕には難しいことはよくわかりません。
We were played, weren't we? I didn't know about these difficult things.
同感だな。
Likewise.
私にだって難しいことはよくわからない。
Even for me, I can't make much sense of it.
だが、一つ確実なことがある。
But there's one thing I can be certain of.
君が言った通りってことさ。
It's just as you said.
この村はダム湖になんか沈まない。
This village won't be submerged.
ダム計画なんてそのうちなくなってしまうってことさ。
The dam project will soon be over. That wasn't something an officer of the law should be saying. But I naturally let those words slip from my mouth. This village may have stirred up all sorts of trouble. But that was because they were protecting their homes. If someone just decided by themselves that I had to leave the house I was used to living in, I would resent them as well. On top of that, it wasn't a place like mine where I just happened to be renting it, but a place that their families had lived for generations. It might be ignorant to call their desperate resistance an overreaction. Finally, I think you and I can both agree on this. I think you and I are both on the same page as this now. I might not be really qualified to criticize politics or bureaucracy, but deliberately building a dam on land that was loved by its residents wasn't something I could get behind.
でもよかったじゃないか。
Still, aren't you glad?
どうしてですか？
Why would that be?
少なくともこれでこの村に平和が戻るよ。
At the very least, with this, peace will return to this village. If only it would. If only it would. But sadly, this is only the beginning of its troubles. At least in recent times, anyway. Even though the minister promised to use his considerable influence to cancel the project, it would probably take more than a few months before it could be completely scrapped. At the very least, it would probably take 1 or 2 years. For the villagers to officially hear that their village wasn't going to be submerged at the bottom of a dam was still a ways away. But it was no mistake that the promise of peace returning to the village was there. It turned out from beginning to end that had already all been decided. But just as the girl had said, it was decided. There wasn't really a need for me to come here in the first place. There was absolutely no need for me to have come here in an aggravated and unpleasant situation. I wonder if this is the writer's way of basically saying there was no need for any of this to have occurred. None of what happened here was actually truly important in the grand scheme of things. It was basically a time waster. Much like the name of this chapter. If I had never come here, then the grandson's release might have been done in a more amicable manner.
平和が
Peace?
この村に
In this village. When I nodded, she laughed as if to admonish me. But her face remained indifferent, expressionless. And then, her eyes narrowed slightly as she snickered.
これから毎年血生臭いことが起きるのに
Even though every year from now on, something bloody will occur? How do you know that? How?
リカちゃん、何の話だい？
Rika-chan, what are you talking about? As the wind blew her hair about, the girl, as if taking pleasure in that I was the only one who didn't know, continued to snicker as she looked at my face for a while.
私ね
You see,
あと何年かすると
in a few years,
殺されるの
I'll be killed. You mean like at the end of chapter 3? Huh? Backlit by the moon, it was hard to tell if her expression It was hard to tell if her expression that had been cast in shadow was smiling, amused, or resigned.
リカちゃんが
You are?
どうして
Why?
とても不愉快なことだけど、
It's a very unpleasant thing, though.
それも多分決まってることなの。
It's also probably been decided already.
決まっているって誰がそんなことを決めるんだい
Decided already? Who'd decide that sort of thing?
それを私も知りたいの。
I'd like to know that as well. Turning back to face me, she showed me a resolute expression for the first time. And after staring into my eyes for a moment, she turned back to gaze at the scenery before she spoke her next words.
ここは人の命を何とも思わない連中でいっぱいです。
There's a lot of people who have no regard for human life.
これを伝えても何も変わらないかもしれないけど、
Even if I tell you this, it might not change anything, no. It might not change anything.
でも死という月を映す水面をかき消すためなら
But
小石を投じることも
if you want to
ある
erase
かもしれない。
But if you want to erase the specter of death, sometimes, like with the reflection of the moon on the water, all you have to do is throw a small stone. I had no idea what she's trying to say. I think what she's saying is, if I want to put an end to all the deaths that are going to occur, I have to perform a certain kind of action that'll prevent them all from occurring, or at least some of them. I don't know, I'm just guessing here. It's just, I had to listen to every word of my body and soul. Or at least, that's what I thought.
来年の今日、
This day next year.
そう。昭和54年の6月の今日、
Yes, June 1979, on this day.
ダム現場の監督が殺されます。
The foreman of the dam construction project will be killed. Oh, so that occurred next year. Okay. I've been wrong about this for a while. What? Can you actually see into the future? No, wait a minute. My time loop theory. If you are someone who is stuck in a time loop, you're either one of two different types of people. You're either someone who has no memory of previous loops, or you're someone who has at least some memory of it, if not complete recollection, depending. Rika, are you the latter type of person in the time loop? Have you actually already been killed? God knows how many times? Because if that's the case, then that would explain how you would know everything up until, that would explain how you would know all the stuff that's going to happen for the next few years, up till the moment of your death. Which then makes me wonder, how far back does the loop go for you? Because thinking about it now, whenever I played as Keiichi in the last 3 chapters, each chapter would start at roughly the same time. In regards to the date and all that stuff, I mean, I think. Same week, if I recall. Always the week leading up to the Watanagashi festival. And then things happen. Everything goes downhill. Everybody dies, basically. And then rinse and repeat through chapters 1, 2, and 3. For Keiichi, that's when his loops repeat. But not for you, Rika? By the foreman, did she mean the gruff old man I played mahjong with?
殺されるって
Be killed.
どうして
What makes you think? She didn't answer. But she had the same expression on her face as she did when she declared that the dam project would go away. That wasn't the face of somebody making a forecast or a prediction. It was something that was already decided. No, it was as if she was already reporting the results. That sort of expression.
恐ろしい殺され方をした後、体中をバラバラに引き裂かれて捨てられてしまいます。
After being killed in a gruesome manner, the body will be torn apart and disposed of.
バラバラ殺人
Murdered and dismembered.
その翌年の昭和55年の6月の今日、
The next year, in June of 1980 on this day,
聡子の両親が突き落とされて死にます。
Satoko's parents will be pushed to their deaths. Satoko? It was the first time I heard that name. I didn't have the courage to interrupt the girl's story.
あるいは事故と言うべきかもしれない。
It might be an accident.
不幸な事故。
An unfortunate accident. What do you mean it might be an accident? Why might? The girl smiled faintly. But she wasn't exactly encouraging me to smile along with the lifeless look in her eyes.
そしてさらにその翌年の昭和56年の6月の今日、
And then, the year after that, this day in June of 1981,
私の両親が殺されます。
my parents will be killed.
そしてさらに翌年の昭和57年の6月の今日、
And then the year after that, this day in June of 1982,
聡子の意地悪おばが頭を割られて死にます。
replace X days of replace X days of Christmas with X days of X years of Watanagashi, and you basically have the whole freaking plot of these games right here. On the first year of Watanagashi, the village Orishiro-sama gave to us a dismembered damn foreman, and I fucking lost a goddamn song, son of a bitch. But you know, something like that. I hate my brain sometimes. And then the year after that, this day in June of 1982, Satoko's abusive aunt will have her head split open and die.
そしてさらに翌年の昭和58年の6月の今日、
And then the year after that, this day in the June of 1983.
あるいはその数日後か、
Or possibly a few days afterwards. And this brings us to the events of the last few chapters.
私が殺されます。
I will be killed.
すべての死が予定調和なら、
If all the deaths are preordained,
最後の死もまた予定のうちなのでしょうか。
then the last one will also be all according to plan.
でもならばこれは一体誰の予定なの？
But then whose plan would it be? That's a good question, actually. This village is full of murderers and people who have no regard for human life. It would be fine to believe that all the deaths up until 1982 would be the work of somebody in the village. it would be fine to believe that all the deaths that would occur were at the discretion of those who controlled the village. But that didn't explain what would happen in 1983. There is no way that the last death would fit in with anybody's plans. They had no regard for human life. They would use every means at their disposal to meet their goals. But their goals were at odds with the last death. That's why the last death was unrelated to them. So if Rika's death is unrelated to all the previous ones, then that would mean that there is somebody out there who has a reason that is different from all the other years that they want to kill Rika for. But then that would also mean that all the previous years' deaths are definitely connected and they aren't just free coincidences after all. Is that what you're saying here? Am I understanding you right? But that last death would definitely, most likely, probably, without question, happen. Probably, definitely, I dare say. The last death would be a merciful one. I don't know. The results, the ending results that I saw at the end of Chapter 3 weren't exactly pretty. A handkerchief or something being placed over their mouth, making them lose consciousness, never to wake up again. Exactly whose plan was that?
私は幸せに生きたい。
I want to live happily.
望みはそれだけ。
That's my only wish.
大好きな友人たちに囲まれて、楽しく日々を過ごしたい。
Surrounded by my precious friends, spending our days enjoyably.
それだけなの。
Only that. Assuming you're telling me the truth here, then I guess you're not exactly malicious after all? Well and truly so? How do you know all this? Are you actually a victim of a time loop like I'm speculating? Because if that's the case, then I gotta figure it out. How do you remember everything? Why you? How are you able to know all this? How are you able to possibly recall all this even? How is your memory not affected?
それ以上の何も望んでいないの。
Is it related to that Orishiro-sama stuff that I've heard that I saw in that one tip? Like you somehow possibly being reincarnation of Orishiro-sama or something like that? Because that would then mean that you're a supernatural entity in the flesh. In that case, then... Well, holy shit. That would mean that I'm probably staring at the supernatural side of Hinamizawa, staring right at the face at the supernatural aspect of Hinamizawa. It's finally shown itself to me, and it's been staring me right in the face from day one. I won't lie. I definitely, if I'm right, then I definitely didn't see that coming. But what better way to hide something than putting it right under their nose? Am I right? I don't wish for anything more than that.
Rika-chan.
Rika-chan.
死にたくない。
I don't want to die. The girl, stoic as ever, let those last words slip in the end. Eventually, we were discovered by some drunks. The girl, as well as I, were dragged back to the festivities. Everybody was completely drunk, so even when they saw my head completely wrapped in bandages, they wouldn't let me leave. Well, certainly if I was in a good enough condition to slip out of the hospital, it must not be that serious. The girl was mingling with everybody, being pampered like a kitten. Her expression was adorable, nothing like the one from just before, predicting her own death and whispering that she didn't want to die. Having said that, having a silly and lively conversation like this, it was hard to believe that these people were the core of an extremist resistance group. Even if it was a small shell of its former self, it was a festival where people in the village gathered, so that the 20-some-odd folk here should have included some of the village executives and other important members. Among those, there was no doubt that there were members that were the Sonozaki family council in attendance. Meaning, even if we never met face to face before, there were people here who knew my identity. In a small village like this, they knew the faces of all the villagers that lived here. That's why, even without saying anything, it soon became obvious that I was an outsider. But they actually seemed interested by that, asking me all sorts of questions about Tokyo, drinking while musing on the faint relationship the city had with the villagers, and emphasizing with the rather meager environment. This definitely doesn't feel like the sort of attitude I'd expect from a village that's wary of outsiders by default. The confidential talks with the minister were finished. His grandson was in police custody. Everything was over. I might not have to be put in another perilous situation. To me, they were only my adversaries because of my job. Outside of that, there was no reason I couldn't be friendly with them. The next time I visited this village, would it return to being a tranquil and beautiful place? No, it won't, as we were just told. And unfortunately, she's right. It certainly won't. If that happened, I might be able to take a relaxed walk around the village with her again. My cup was once again filled to the brim with beer. By the time I was able to get away, it was the middle of the night. The girl had at some point disappeared. It seems that her parents had told her to go home and sleep when she let out a large yawn. The old folks, who had absolutely no remorse for making an injured person hang out with them, told me as much as they laughed. I was just there drinking, so I thought to help a bit with cleanup. However, my help was refused on the grounds I was a guest. Ooshi must be so fucking pissed right now, wondering what the hell happened to you. On top of that, they had a car prepared to take me back to the hospital. Losing the battle against my sleepiness inside the car, I was sound asleep until we reached the parking lot of the hospital. The front door of the hospital was naturally locked at this hour. I wandered around bewilderedly, searching for a back entrance until somebody on night duty found out and let me inside.
こんな時間までどちらへ?
Where were you this late at night?
Irie 先生も心配してましたよ。
Dr. Irie was worried, you know.
ご迷惑をおかけしました。
Dealing with a bad case of platonitis. Sorry for the trouble.
神社でお祭りの人たちに引き止められまして。
But it turns out my recovery was both swift and very pleasant. I didn't die. I was held up by the people having a festival at the shrine.
ああ、そういえば今日は神社で町会の人たちが集まって飲むとか言ってたな。
Oh, they did say something about everybody in the town council getting together for a drink.
それはご愁傷様でした。
My condolences.
傷は大丈夫ですか?
Are your wounds all right?
ちょっとズキズキしますね。
They're throbbing a bit.
多分アルコールのせいだと思います。
It's probably because of the alcohol, I think.
そうだ。
Oh, that's right.
お連れの刑事さんが連絡が欲しいと言ってましたよ。
The detective that was with you wanted to get in touch.
いけない。
Oops.
大石さんを待たせてたんだった。
I kept Ooshi-san waiting. He's probably just gonna make you pay for... He's probably just gonna make you pay for all his drinks and stuff at some brothel or something. Not that I know if brothels serve alcohol. I've never been to one. But, you know, something like that. I glanced at the clock. No matter how you looked at it, it was way too late to call him now. I'll apologize to him tomorrow over the phone. That is a very square-shaped pillow right there. Is there a stack of bricks in there or something? Like, look at that. That is weird. I returned back to my hospital room and slipped into the bed that was still unmade from the time I went outside. Oh, that's no good. I had to turn off the lights. But my weariness had cut the cord powering my body, lulling me into a deep sleep. You sure it wasn't Rika doing it telepathically to you or something? No, wait, that's telepathy is talking. Mental talking. Telekinesis! There we go. It's probably telekinesis. New tips unlocked on Mother's Diary 2, and Mother's Diary 3. You know what? Let's take a look at these tips. There was something I didn't like about my child. I first realized it when I started writing these things down. They'd never warn you about it in any books about raising children, but they aren't just a plaything. If they aren't able to feel loved even when they're not doing exactly as their parents want them to, then those parents are failures. This wasn't something like that, though. How can I say it? It's probably hard to express with mere words. I just want my child to be average. As long as they weren't falling behind, there wasn't any need for them to excel at something. As long as they acted appropriately for their age, I would have been fine with it. But my child had been different ever since kindergarten. While the children in her class were running around in excitement about the field trip next day, she only wore a bored look on her face, aloof and distant. Rika's mother, is this you writing this? You talking about Rika? When the other kids broke the equipment for an athletics festival and were apologizing fervently, she only wore a bored look on her face, aloof and distant. When the teacher was reading a fun picture book, only she wasn't smiling. Even if they all got to eat a delicious bento, only she wasn't happy. If it was only this, it would still be in the realm of understanding. However, what I don't understand about my child is that if the aforementioned situations happened again, they'd now act in a manner befitting their age. I don't understand the principle behind that, as a parent. Why were they indifferent about that field trip, but happy about this one? Why were they indifferent about that picture book, but happy about this one? If I had to guess, if I'm right about my time loop theory and Rika's role in it, then it's probably because it's probably around this, later on, that she decides to put on her cheery, childlike facade for everybody else's benefit. Which would, but if that's the case, it would kind of beg the question why she wouldn't do it right off the bat. If if her loops start every time she's in kindergarten. But that might actually be easily explainable. Maybe she doesn't recall all of everything right away, every time the loop starts for her again. Like, maybe she might be able to recall some things. And because of that, she's unhappy. And then maybe after a little while, once she ages a bit and she remembers everything, that's when she remembers to put on a happier facade for everybody, so as not to draw needless attention to herself. You know, something like that. Why were they indifferent about that bento, but happy about this one? The former and the latter in each situation seemed exactly the same to me. There was even times when I thought the former one was better. I don't understand that child's feelings. During parent-teacher meetings, the teacher always said the same thing. And I would always respond that I don't understand my own child, and we would mope together. My husband, always the optimist, once said that a young child's feelings are different from an adult's. So if there were some things we didn't understand, we shouldn't worry about it. I lament his lack of urgency. One day, when I was in a good mood, I took the effort to prepare a menu that my child would enjoy. But she only smiled with a vague expression of disinterest. That attitude frankly made me angry, so I hit her on the head. That seems like a bit of an overreaction. On a day when the weather was nice, the laundry I just hung up to dry was blown by a large gust of wind, causing the entire line to fall down. But she, watching me trying to pick up the laundry in a panic, stood there laughing. That attitude frankly made me angry, so I hit her on the head. Once again, I think that's a bit of an overreaction. I think the same sort of thing happened countless times. Before I knew it, my child was only able to look at me with an indifferent expression on her face. If I wasn't so certain about my time loop theory right now, and Rika's role in it, I would argue that I would probably think in this case, maybe the reason she's only now at this point able to look at you with a different expression on her face is either because brain damage, or she learned to not react a certain way towards you lest she get hit on the head, or a combination of both. But I vote brain damage. I would vote brain damage. I regret the fact that I had been a bad mother. At least you acknowledge that you've been a bad mother. It's certainly that's certainly a step further than a lot of people. Thinking I should regain her trust, I thought to get it back little by little with some slight interactions. Seeing her do some sort of craft work on the veranda, I called out to her.
ここ数日、気持ちのいい晴れの日が続いて、気分がいいわね。
These past few days have been nice and sunny. The air feels nice, doesn't it? That child, with that indifferent look on her face I hated so much, looked up at me for a moment. Then, without a word, returned to immersing herself in her craft work. Up until now, I would have hit her on the head just for that. I held myself back.
何を作ってるの？お人形さん？
What are you making? Is it a doll?
てるてる坊主。
A weather charm. That child was using inserts from the newspaper to definitely make some weather charms. The forecast hadn't called for rain. But that child, in her own way, was praying that these sunny days would continue. I just had a thought. Were some of those tips waxing about philosophical questions and thought experiments and all that stuff? Were those from Rika's perspective by chance? Because maybe in that case, maybe right now she's praying for rain. Maybe right now she's praying for a rain cloud. She's just looking up at the sky, hoping that rain will come. Being able to understand my own child for the first time in a while, I couldn't hide my own happiness. Bringing out a ball of yarn, I began to hang my child's cute weather charms from the eaves of the house.
ダメよ、リカ。
It's no good, Rika.
頭が重すぎるから。ほら、
The heads are too heavy, see?
逆さてるてる坊主になっちゃったわ。
They become reverse weather charms now. I think maybe that's the point.
これじゃ、晴れじゃなくて、雨になっちゃうわよ。
If they're like this, they'll call the rain instead of the sun. When I started to take them down, my child tugged at the hem of my shirt as if to stop me.
逆さになるように作ったのだから、それでいいの。
That's because I made them the upside down. They're fine. Yeah, looks like I was right. Anyway, let me guess. Cue Rika's mom hitting Rika on the head in 3, 2.
でもリカ、てるてる坊主が逆さじゃ、晴れのおまじないにならないわよ。
But Rika, if they're upside down, they won't be a charm that calls for a sunny day, you know?
雨が降るようにおまじないをしているから、それでいいの。
I was making a charm for it to rain, so they're fine. I desperately suppressed the emotions welling up inside me. I was trying desperately to understand my child. 1!
そっか。
Oh.
お庭の朝顔が晴れ続きで元気がなくなっちゃったから、雨が欲しいのね。
The morning glories in the garden were starting to get a little wilted from all the sun, so you want some rain, right? That child turned to me with the expression that I hated the most.
晴れにね。飽きたの。
I got bored of the clear little leather. 0.5. I don't understand. I don't understand. I just can't understand that child. And that's when you hit her on the head, right? Poor Rika. During the family council, she buried herself under Uryu-san's futon again. Uryu-san dotes her on her unwaveringly. No matter whatever insolence my child commits, she doesn't mind. It's almost as though my child is a kitten or something. Well, up until now, I'm pretty sure that would have been I would have agreed that'd be a very accurate description of how people seem to see Rika. Or you dotes on her exactly like you would with a kitten. As her mother, I chided her for doing that. Until Uryu-san had said 3 times that it was fine, I chided her as a formality. Of course, she never lends an ear to any of my chidings. Knowing that Uryu-san's standing was far above mine, she behaves like that. I don't like the cunning that's unbefitting of her age either. In any case, not only Uryu-san, but the rest of the old folk in the village spoil her too much. One day I was surprised. By chance, on the way back from some shopping, I saw her by herself just outside a candy shop. My own child suddenly grabbed a snack, opened the package right there, and then started eating it. She didn't make any attempt to pay for it, and she didn't even think of looking around. Well, let's be honest. I think every single child has done this at once at some point, you know? When they're really young. I know I did. It didn't even feel like she was shoplifting. More like she were brazenly eating snacks that was offered to her. When I began to admonish my child, the elderly shop owner appeared and covered for her. The owner gave the ridiculous excuse that he had said that it was okay for that child to eat any of the snacks out by the entrance, so it was fine. When I tried to pay for the snacks that my child had eaten, the owner refused my money. During that exchange, more old folks had suddenly gathered around and began to feel like I was the one in the wrong. The elderly people all put their hands together reverently in front of my child and repeatedly voiced all their respects. I was born into the Farud family, so it wasn't like I didn't know why she was being treated specially. When I was still young, it was something I often heard from my grandmother. If by chance the child I gave birth to was a girl, that child would be the living incarnation of Orishiro-sama. All the older folks believed she's the living incarnation of Orishiro-sama and spoil her rotten. And not only did they spoil her, but they even told her she was the living incarnation of Orishiro-sama, that she had divine power, and threw all sorts of strange folk tales her way. So she may have begun to believe herself that she was a special existence. Well, honestly, I'm starting to think that she does have a special existence, but special in a very not good way. In fact, I kind of really pity her. I went around and told everybody that it wasn't good for her upbringing. So to stop telling her all these strange things. But there was no uprooting the elderly people's deep-seated superstitions. I told my child not to listen to them, but it ended up being that she stopped listening to me. Between all the old folks in the village who would dote on her, and myself who would only scold her, there was no wonder who she would listen to. There was no mistaking that the reason she had become strange was because of the elderly villagers. But you yourself have acknowledged that she's been strange ever since kindergarten. There was no doubt that they had shoved her full of strange folk tales and superstitions since she was young. If it wasn't for that, there was no doubt my child would have been cute and normal. You just keep telling yourself that. One sunny parent-teacher day, there was a cooking class. My child was making curry rice with a practiced hand. While the other children her age were awkwardly using their kitchen knives, that child was wielding hers deftly. The teacher approached me with a smile on her face, saying it must be a result of learning it at home. I managed to play it off with a vague smile and a nod in response. That was because I had never once taught my child how to make curry rice. Even then, she was peeling vegetables with a practiced hand, adding them into the pot in the order of which took longer to cook. For a normal parent, they might unintentionally clap their hands together, happy at their child's actions. But in my case, it was different. There was no mistaking that somebody had taught her how to make that curry rice when I wasn't taking care of her. Thinking that, I quietly fell into an unpleasant mood. When I asked, it seemed she could also sew and do the laundry. I wonder if she learned how to do all this from living with Satoko. In previous loops, I mean. Probably, if I had to guess. I never taught her how to do those, and again, never saw her do it around the house. Be it cooking or sewing or the laundry. Again, that was probably because the elderly villagers taught her all sorts of rubbish when I wasn't looking. Doing your laundry isn't rubbish, lady. And not only that, they probably taught her all sorts of strange superstitions, trying to prop her up as the living incarnation of Orishiro-sama. I said as much to my husband, suggesting that we should keep our child away from the elderly folk. But my husband, who was in the position of being the head priest of the Farud shrine, had little power against the elderly who supported it. He took the rather uncommitted stance of saying that as long as she was being doted upon, wasn't it fine? You really don't have much of a backbone to speak of, don't you? In general. I argued against that. That she was our child and should be a completely normal girl. That was what the elderly were expecting. That she was a living incarnation of Orishiro-sama was simply odd. The elderly villagers believed that child has divine powers. We would discuss the weather for the following day, but there were many times when I left the house without an umbrella and came back soaking wet. Rather than having clairvoyance, that was just secondhand knowledge from her watching the news all the time. The things that she knew that she shouldn't have known were just a result of the people who were trying to indoctrinate her, and the people who were gossiping getting together in the village. However, there certainly were days when everybody thought it was going to be sunny all day, and that child would stubbornly not go out without an umbrella. It would occasionally rain, and in the end, we would be saved. There might also have been times where Rika knew of major accidents in foreign countries faster than the news did. I thought that she must have heard it break over the radio or something. Knowing things she shouldn't have, something like that, was in front of me right now, wasn't it? That child was making curry rice when there shouldn't have been anybody who taught her how to. No. That couldn't possibly be the case. Somebody had taught her, had indoctrinated her. When I wasn't taking care of her, somebody had indoctrinated Rika with something.
フルデさんのカレーは大変見事です。先生、花丸をあげちゃいます。
Fruit-san's curry is absolutely splendid. I'll give it a gold star. Appealing to the curry maniac's sensibilities even at this young age. Definitely has time loop knowledge, for sure.
ニパ
フルデさんはお料理を誰に習いましたか？やっぱりお家で？
Where did you learn to cook, Fruit-san? At home?
ー。はい。お家なのですよ。
Yes, at home. The other parents in attendance were impressed. Lies. All lies. I didn't teach her anything. Who was it? Who was it? Who was the person who had completely indoctrinated my child? She was my normal, average daughter, not the living incarnation of Orishiro-sama. There's just no denying it. There is something very off about Rika in a way that I just can't explain through rational earthly means. It's like I've been saying, she either has to be like a victim of a time loop, a series of time loops, or maybe she's some kind of supernatural entity. In which case, well, maybe she would just be able to either magically acquire knowledge of things that interest her, or, well, it's probably knowledge that if she's indeed the living incarnation of the guardian deity, then she probably has knowledge of, well, literally centuries, if not millennia backing her, for all we know. However long that this deity has actually existed. I just don't think and by extension, I can't deny it anymore. There is something clearly supernatural going on here in Hinamizawa. Rika is living proof of that. Right now I'm leaning more towards time loops. Because if it was just clairvoyance, then why go through similar events throughout the last 3 chapters that start out in similar fashions but play out differently each time? What would be the point in that? If, if we were in basically a stable timeline, like there's no loops or anything like that, which leads me to conclude that it must be time loops. I'll need to think about this stuff a good bit. Now that I'm fairly certain that there is time loops that are occurring, I need to think about how this affects my understanding of all the previous chapter's events up till this point, and even what I've been seeing here in this chapter. Anyway, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and cut things off here, and I guess we can continue on whatever is gonna be waiting for us. And when I hit the continue button in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 4. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.